Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what is round number 9 of the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series. And today we are coming from Laguna Seca. Joining me in the commentary box once again is Chris Mitchell off your racing debut last week.
Yeah, I gave it a red-hot crack in Oran Park, and I was actually bitterly disappointed that I couldn't go faster. But no, it's so much fun jumping in and having a drive with these guys. But it's time to get back in the commentary booth and join you, so you don't get left all by lonesome for the whole 2 hours of doing this stream, Matty.
I was so ornery last week. So ornery. Practice session is up, as you can see up on screen. Only 3.5 minutes left in this one, so not long to get underway with qualifying here at Laguna Seca. Of course, we do have a couple of things to go through leading up to that, and let's just have a look at the round and how that's panning out at the moment. Of course, we've got 3.6 kilometers to get around, 11 corners here at Laguna Seca in California. Air temp at the moment set to 18.2 degrees, track temp 37. No humidity at all. I think that's well, it is a desert, really, isn't it? So that's probably why we're getting that one. A little bit of yeah, dry heat. Fantastic raceway too. One of the things I'll notice about this one, a lot of dirt that can be dragged onto the track, which might cause some slippery conditions later. 44 laps if we go start to finish at optimum pace. That is without a safety car. We could squeeze in 44 laps. Probably going to be some sort of safety car pulled out at some point, so expect to be that around the 40 laps completion total for this race. So that's where we're going to be. Of course, we've got a 1 hour practice session underway right now. It's only got a couple of minutes left. We're going to go to 30-minute qualifying session up next, and then it's going to be a 1 hour race, and of course all the setups are fixed in iRacing. So that's what we've got to work with our race preview. Plenty more going on, of course, as we check out the times. We'll see this reset 2.5 minutes. Of course, we've got all your comments coming in. You can comment. Doesn't matter whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. They're all going to come in, and we'll be checking those throughout the race. Good to see a bit of banter last week and the boys getting on board and letting us know a couple of things going on there. I suppose we need to have a bit of a chat about where the points are at the moment. Of course, our next round is going to be Bathurst. It's going to be fantastic to be back there, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to head to Bathurst, and I know the boys are chomping at the bit, but the talk of making that an enduro as well, it's going to be an interesting one when we go to Bathurst. Putting these guys in the seat for that much longer is going to be a big ask.
Yep, 3 hour enduro. It's going to be fun for all of us. That's all I'm saying. We're going to have a great time with that. 3 hours at Bathurst. I've done quite a few of the races there. We did a virtual Bathurst there last year. Yes, end of last year. So it's a great track to get around. Lots of different conditions there, especially as you go over through the Dipper, all those sort of areas. So iconic track too for Australians racing GT3. They're going to be very quick compared to the supercars.
Yeah, and much easier to drive as well. Let's face it, supercars aren't going to be the easiest car to drive for a long period of time. But the GT3 cars, they're built to be easier to drive, in theory.
In theory. So we don't actually know when the Bathurst round's going to come up. That's something we're waiting to hear from the organisers. That's a bit of a TBC. Obviously, we've had a few delays in the series due to racing commitments and other things. So we will let you know on social media as soon as that happens. Obviously, last round, though, that's actually become a null and void round. So really, the series points will remain at the moment, and that's Paul Mansell leading, Sam Dicker in second, Mason Harvey in third. The top three sitting on the podium at the moment. That's how it will remain at this point in time.
It'll be interesting to see if Sam Dicker can close up that points margin after taking the win at Oran Park that ended up not counting towards his tally. And at the moment, we're not even sure if Sam is actually going to be in the house in time to race tonight. He is rocketing back up from Albany after just taking the win in the opening round of the West Australian KZ Series down at the Southern Sprint this weekend in Albany. He won the final by at least 8 seconds, I think it was, in KZ2, the effectively pro gearbox shifter kart class here in Western Australia. But we are yet to see him on track and running here, Matty.
Yeah, and I hope he can squeeze that in there. Very important to get him back in the series, especially with the battle he's had going on with Paul Mansell. That's going to be a killer one to watch, and it's going to get right down to the wire between those two competitors. So can't wait to see exactly how that may pan out here tonight. Laguna Seca, of course, is where it's all happening. Plenty of other people involved in the mix there too. I mean, Kevin Norman's just outside the top three. Corey Bennett could be in there. He missed last round, so it's probably being a void round. That's probably going to work in his favour as well. Kieran Ellis in 6th. Fitzroy Beaumont in 7th. Gianni Latsu in 8th. Eli Tunstall 9th, and Sebastian Guest in 10th. So, of course, we are here, though, for round number 9. It's 28th of March, Laguna Seca. The stream is up. Make sure you share it around with all your friends and family. And, of course, we will be checking your comments as they come in. Let's go the guesty boys. Of course, let's go the guesty boys. Boys just got back from Albany karting and should be dialed in. Well, he's got half an hour. That's the beautiful part about it. They do have half an hour. The qualifying session has now just started.
Going to be interesting to see who's going hell for leather in the opening stage of this session. It's really easy to drop a wheel at Laguna Seca and cost yourself the lap with a couple of incident points to boot and negate that qualifying run as well. I think Gianni was the fastest out of practice in the 122.1s, but track conditions were showing to be a little bit dusty. As you can see how much dust and sand is strewn all over the racetrack as they come out of the kink and up the Rahal straight on the way out towards the corkscrew. It's going to be a real interesting race to see how the track conditions pan out through this qualifying session and then a 1 hour race. As the guesty boys flash across on screen.
Yeah, so like you say, it is going to be a tricky track. You can already see some of the marks there. It is in the virtual world, of course, but they will virtually drag dirt or sand onto this track. It will get slippery on some of the corners. So do you come out early in qualifying and just try and lay that lap down? We did see in the low 120s in practice, so we're expecting around a 121 in qualifying. In saying that, Sam Dicker seems to be a bit of a freak when it comes to qualifying. Maybe we see a 120 flat.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Paul Mansell can bust out at this round. He got lucky as a result of last week because he had a bit of a shocker at Oran Park. I saw him in my mirror, which was surprising at some stage of the race before he went flying past me. But he's out swinging at the moment. He's dragging... who is that behind him in the Lamborghini? That's Justin McLean in the 662. The Racecraft Lamborghini, as they head down the main straight towards the Andretti hairpin. It's interesting to see that he's sticking with the Lamborghini. They're sticking to the guns, staying loyal, as the rest of the field, with the exception of Neil Woodburn, pretty much everyone else running the Audis. Of course, Fitzroy Beaumont and Peter B, all running in the Ferrari at this stage. Staying loyal to the Ferrari.
Staying loyal, yes. And I'm not surprised to see Fitzroy Beaumont, the Azure Auto Sports entry, staying loyal in that one. And Peter B, the Italian stallion, as we like to call him, he's been in the Ferrari from the start to finish. You can't go anything else if you're Italian, can you? You've got to stay in the Ferrari.
That's exactly it. You've got to stay with the Ferrari, and that's what you need. I'm liking the fact on Facebook we have automated closed captioning, and they can understand us. That's cool.
Well,
Christian Guest asking me, how's the gloves? They're good. They've seen 15 hours of work since I got them, at least. Much to my beautiful partner's disgust, because it means 15 hours that I've spent in here and not doing other things.
I'm assuming the housework's taking a second place at the moment for you.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll just leave it at that. Sim racing is life at the moment.
Oh, that's fantastic. Gianni Latsu is actually our number one at the moment. You can see they're getting around in the Audi. This is he's number one at the moment with the 123, but that would only be the second lap. He would have been on an out lap, and now he's just settling into a little bit of pace. We'll see how he is going to bring it on. He's been super impressive. He hasn't been here for all the rounds, of course, which has been a bit of a shame, actually. I think we might have seen him a little bit further up in the standings because he has only been here for 3 rounds from memory. I'm just having a look up there. 3 rounds is where he's been. The 4th round was last week, which has actually gone void for him, unfortunately. But a second at round number 4, a second at round number 6, and a 3rd place at round number 7. He would have been great to have Gianni in the entire series, because I would have been surprised if Paul and Sam actually would have kept up with him.
Gianni's one of these ones that just freakishly fast at getting in it. But, I mean, you look at his I rating on iRacing, and it kind of tells the story. Is it an I rating of over 4,500 with an A-grade license? He's a quick guy, real quick, and smart too. And you know what? It's taken me all this season to figure out how to tell the three energy racing guys apart. And it all comes down to the mirror color.
The mirror color. Is that a purple on this one?
Pink.
Oh, pink.
So Gianni's got the purple, pink, whatever you want to call it. Mason Harvey is yellow. Craig Spencer is the Tiff blue.
Well, you normally know Craig because he seems to have
Usually
the
one
bad luck in
sideways
this
on
one.
the track.
Let's have a look at where he is actually, old Craigie. We've had him up. I saw him doing some practice laps earlier, and we bring him up on track now. Now you can see that green. It was like an aqua more, isn't it? Oh, look, we gave him the camera curse. He hasn't had a great return, has he?
No, I was paying him out as well because I was in the session. I was in their open practice session a little bit earlier through my own iRacing account, just checking out what's going on. But at the same time, I was in the drivers' Discord chat, kind of just heckling them a little bit. And yeah, I got Craig a couple of times already. I got Kieran Ellis, a good one too. He's back in the series this week, and he's brought another new livery for us. It's not, how can I put it? Not the greatest, but he's staying true to form. Is Kieran?
Oh, sorry, I brought up Sebastian Guest. Let's have a look at Kieran. Actually, I was looking at this one a little bit earlier. I do like though. He's gone the metallic finish though. He's gone the beautiful metallic reflective finish on this one.
Yeah. He's stuck with the anime, and he's gone with this interesting pink and green combo. Not sure how that works too well.
I like it. I do. I'm responding to it, especially when it comes out on an Audi. Might not look the best on a different style of car. I think with the lines on the Audi, I quite enjoy that. But, you know, each of their own.
You're getting way too into the diagnosing about the car.
Oh, it's got to be on the right lines. You can't use too many colours either when it comes to doing graphics on a car. I think you got to stick to 3 colours when you do up a car, and it's got to suit the lines of the vehicle.
The old three color rule, but doesn't really apply to black or white.
No, it doesn't. Does not apply to black and white. Black and white always look clean. Doesn't matter which way you go. So, Fitzroy Beaumont back out in the Ferrari in the number 16, currently in 7th fastest at the moment with a 1:23.659. Gianni Lutzu's gone back up to number 1, but Paul Mansell had that for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. We've got 23 minutes left in this qualifying session. Kevin Norman slotted in between those two now in 2nd. You know, all within 1/100th of a second. Top 3.
Very tight at the moment. I mean, Gianni's probably got a little bit more in the tank that we could expect to see from him. Sam Dicker is circulating and clicking off laps. I see a 1:23.8 from Sam. So it's good to see Sam out on track and probably just trying to shake off the 4-hour drive from Albany right now. Mason Harvey's in the session. He was in Albany as well. So they have all made it back in time to go racing and come join us for the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series. Good to see. What a bumper weekend of racing for these guys.
I just can't believe how much seat time they've got at the moment, whether it be in a go-kart, out of the anything at the track, and then they come back and they get in the simulator, and they just looks effortless almost how they do it.
The amount of seat time and travel time as well. Even you yourself, you've been up at Sydney Dragway this weekend, running the show there last night for the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars.
Yeah, that's a big on Friday night on here doing the AOSC, obviously the Supercar Series for those guys, and off to Sydney nice and early. Big day yesterday. Yourself, you're out at Wanneroo's, getting plenty of coverage out there, doing the media as well.
Yeah, we're also out at Wanneroo, joining with the media crew out there and linking up with Adam Marjoram, who's a well-known name over here in West, of course, running from Super 2 in the V8 Youth days. We're doing some media up at Wanneroo. Then I was down at Perth Motorplex today. During the day, getting my thrill ride on in a 3-seater, 1,000 horsepower dragster doing 8-second passes. And then back in for the E-Series. We're just all about it, mate.
I can tell you're pumped up. That's what it is. Doing that 8-second pass, you are super pumped up today. But yeah, it's been a big weekend for a lot of us. Sunday night racing, and you think you're going to come and relax in front of the computer and cut a few laps, but it's not like that when you get in the simulator world, is it? The feedback on the steering wheels, it's definitely, although you're in air-conditioned comfort, you're still quite physical to get these cars around the track if you've got the feedback turned right up.
I was in air-conditioned comfort. This room gets warm. And it gets very humid in here, especially when I'm sitting in this Alcantara seat for long enough. But that's going to be one of the additions coming soon, I think. Going to have to put some aircon in this room. But you're right. It's no walk in the park. It's no sitting on the lounge and fiddling with the controller. It's hard work, and not just even in the muscles and work in the wheel, but the mind and the peace of mind. Sorry, the mental load that it takes to get these cars around the track. You've got to be so on top of the car and sensing every little thing that it's telling you, and you're trying to decipher the different language that comes through the force feedback because you don't have the G-forces to feel through the car to try and extract the most out of the lap. And young guys like Gianni, Sam, and even Paul have been doing the best of it in this series so far, but it is a huge amount of work you have to put in to figure out what these cars are trying to tell you and make the most out of them.
Yeah, let's get with Mason Harvey and see how he's going. This is currently sitting in. He's just been bumped out the 10th spot. That means Sam Dicker's come up, and he's on a 122.64, Mr. Dicker. Gianni's just gone a 122 flat.
That's fast.
That is fast. I'm not totally surprised, though. Like I say, we did see some 121s in the practice session. So, obviously, your tyre temps coming up. The track conditions may be changing just a little bit out there, I would say, as the time of day changes. But they'll be looking to get out there early, I think, in case someone does have an off on the track and put some dirt onto a corner. Very interesting if we get a heap of dirt spread across an apex at the moment.
Certainly going to make life a lot harder with the amount of dirt and sand that is around the place here at Laguna Seca. I've done a couple of the MX5, global MX5 races to try and build up the rookie license at this track, and it is hard work, even in a small fun car like the MX5, because the track changes every time, and it's so clutch through, like, the MX5 turn 6 is flat in 4th gear. But in the GT3 cars, you've got to bang it down a gear, but even then it's blind. And then coming up the hill towards the corkscrew, 7 and 8 are blind. And you're trying to figure out where the car is meant to be placed and whether your braking zone's on point. It's really easy to drive the car a long way below the limit, but that doesn't make fast laps. So you've got to drive it on the limit, and it's very easy to overstep that line.
Yeah, and we definitely, when you come down through the corkscrew as well, you watch the different height. As you come down, the car gets, it almost gets a little bit off camber there, but it can lift a wheel up very easy. A lot of people run over the inside of that curb and drag a lot of dust onto the track. And here it is up on screen at the moment, Mason Harvey just going through there. So very easily, and we might be some outer limits there in qualifying where some guys are on a really good lap, but they overstep that mark when it comes to the curb usage. And then what iRacing will do was null and void that lap, and we won't see that come up in qualifying. Although, it could be the fastest lap they've done, it won't count when it comes to qualifying. We've only got 18 minutes left in this session, which means they're roughly going to get themselves, They're going to get about 12 laps in if they're out there at full pace. Nice run there too, a 122.9.
Yeah, Kevin Norman just with a 121.9 going to the top of the board. That is freaking fast. That's quicker than what the boys were putting down in practice. Gianni was the quickest in practice with a 122.1. But, Kevin is absolutely flying right now. It's good to see. Sam, I noticed we were just talking about that whole invalidated lap deal. Sam's timing lap went blank for a second, so that means he got invalidated for the lap that he put down. There's Kevin up on screen in the Flatout Karts Audi R8 GT3. It's a good-looking livery on this car.
I must admit, it does. It suits it. We've seen that style of graphic, I suppose, for the series as well, but it comes up really nice on the cars when they put it down on the livery package. Just going around the outside, though, I noticed Neil Woodburn's back in that gorgeous yellowy green. What do we want to call it? Fluoro green? Is it fluoro yellow? It's like a safety vest. Is that a bit of a cry for please don't hit me? You can't miss me.
Look, I'm pretty sure I unloaded Neil last week, so I don't know whether it helps or hinders his cause. Might have been in practice, actually.
It might have been in practice, I reckon.
I'm not going to incriminate myself any further in this matter.
No, don't do that, mate. We don't want you to incriminate yourself. You had a good run out last week, actually. You're doing quite well at some points, and it just makes one little error, especially Oran Park. It's a rough track, and not, lots of grass on the outside. It slides really easily. It's not like when you get on the sand and it starts to pull the car up. Once you get on that grass, touch a rear wheel somewhere, you are gone, and there's plenty of things to hit when you come over the bridge, and that's where we saw a couple of people come unstuck. And there's nowhere to go if you come unstuck coming up the top there, heading towards the bridge at Oran Park.
Yeah, the good old sticky wall got me towards the end there. That's what ended up me needing to get towed and ultimately put me down the order. But I finally fell victim to the good old iRacing sticky wall for the first time. And now I've learned you just don't go near them.
Yeah. Just drive better.
Yeah, just be faster.
Yeah, just stay out of the walls, mate, and you'll be fine. But there were quite a few people. Paul Mansell was one of those, uncharacteristic for him to be off the track as well. And struggling a bit last week. Let's hope he's a bit happier, and it does already look like that as he's done a 122.1. Now he's nearly into the 121s, and he's in third position in the qualifying, as you can see up on the grid on the left-hand side. So qualifying session still underway. 13 cars have entered so far, and all with lap times, which is good. Often we don't see in the first half of qualifying that everyone actually gets a recognised lap in due to being a bit of off track or something like that. So it's fantastic to see that that has happened. Let's have a look at Sam Dicker though and see if he's made his way back out in the track. I do believe I see some timing up for him. We might get on board with him actually, and we'll let's get in the cockpit and see exactly what goes on while he is driving around.
On board with the gyro cam with Sam Dicker as he goes through the kink. Lifts big time off the noise to get the car settled as he makes his way onto the Rahal straight. Very late on the brakes into the corkscrew, using the aerodynamic advantage of the Audi. Pull it up into the corner. It's interesting, it's middle of the road there through the rainy curve. A lot of people run it all the way out to the rumble strip. Pulls it up very tidy into the final corner to make a run at the next lap. This is fun. This is really fun through this section of the track because it's almost blind, very fast. You can just feel the slightest hint of understeer before you point it down towards the Andretti hairpin. Have you managed to turn some laps on this track here, Matty?
I actually have not. That is the one thing I have not done this week. It's been a super busy week with lots of shows to do and things to be at, as well as the day job. That's been keeping me busy this week. So Kevin Norman there with a 121.98. Sam has just gone a 121, and it was a 9. Sorry, it was a 122, was it? Let me just have a look at this one here because 122.013 is what it is. Wow. So we're talking 25 thousandths of a second is the difference in this one.
That is super close. Gianni Lutzu into the third there with a 122.07. Paul Mansell, 122.100. That's your top four covered by 1.12 tenths of a second.
Yeah, it's close, isn't it? And Craig Spencer's actually turned a lap. He's done a 122.46. So
fantastic.
He just needs to be consistent with turning those laps. Don't turn into people, don't turn into walls.
Yeah, good old Craig. We pay him out pretty hard for the young guy that he is. He is a talented young driver, but his ambition sometimes outweighs his ability. So to put it.
Oh, he does a good job though, and he's been caught up in a couple of unfortunate incidents really, which we wouldn't really expect him to be, and sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's nothing really you can do about that.
It's a horrible thing being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I hate to be in this place when Craig's mum or dad, Chris or Karen, get in touch with me and say, can you leave that poor boy alone?
I'm glad they're giving you a bit of feedback, mate. That's what I'm glad they are giving you some feedback. Paul Mansell's in fourth position. We might just get on board. He's going to come around and complete this lap. See how he goes at the moment. Just having a look up on the time and to see what this lap's looking like. He's coming around. He's up to the 120 mark, but he's still got a corner to go. I think this might be an outlap for him, actually. I think he's gone in and grabbed some tyres because I wouldn't expect to see him down in the 130s unless he's backed off for a car or something like that. So we will go back on a Kevin Norman. It looks like he is still out there at the moment. Can he improve on his time? Currently sitting at number one, the only one in the 121s.
He'd be really happy with that, running with the Logitech wheel and pedal combo. It only feels like a disadvantage when you're not doing really well. the old saying, it sucks to suck. It's easy to blame the Logitech when that's happening, but Kevin does a fantastic job with the equipment that he has and continuing to show that he can still get it done with not spending the huge amounts of money that a direct drive wheel and a load cell brake can cost you in the current market especially.
Yeah, very hard to get sim gear at the moment, isn't it, really? Considering the amount of people that have got into simulator racing, obviously, during COVID times and sort of carried on that. I know a few people were going to invest in some outdoor equipment and decided, hey, we can't really go too far. We're going to buy some sim gear, and now they are well and truly hooked. Much like yourself, mate. Once you buy one thing, you're going to buy 10 more.
Well, look, I started it as floating the idea to my partner, saying, you know what, I might give sim racing a go. Johnny's offered me a bit of a deal with some racecraft stuff, buy some secondhand gear from the centre. I'll build it up slowly and take my time. I won't spend all my money in one hit. 2 weeks later and $5,000, and I have a racing rig that I've been putting the work into the last couple of weeks. It is like that. It just gets you and pulls you in. But the biggest thing noticeably lately is the chipset shortage that's worldwide. You can't get chips, you can't get graphics cards, and that's not going to stop for like another 2 years, people are saying.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Just the amount of uptake when it comes to this. I mean, I'm sure we'll lose a couple of people in the virtual sim racing world once we, now that we're starting to travel around a bit more and that, but I think we are going to have a majority of them stay on. It's great to jump on, especially even if it's just once a week, to get on with the boys and have a bit of a race. And this is part of the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series. It's just that, getting on with all your mates and being part of a series, coming on, having a good race and enjoying the night. No different to what you would do at a normal race meet, except, like you say, the beer's a lot cheaper and the temperature can be controlled.
That's it, and the damage bill doesn't come the day after. So you can do some stupid stuff. You can get a little silly. You can have some fun. You can have a beer, have some banter, and there's the availability to go do things that you're not able to do on a racetrack and in other places, and drive cars you can't afford, and go to tracks you can't get to. It's all available now, and it's all thanks to the wonderful thing, the internet.
Neil Woodburn actually goes 2/10 faster on that lap, but remains in 7th place. Doesn't go up there. I'm going to check in with Fitzroy Beaumont, though, the Azure Autosports guys. He's currently sitting down 9th. I expect he's probably just getting a little bit of track time in here, maybe getting some temperature up. I expect to see the Ferrari maybe drop a couple of tenths off of that one, is my guess, once he gets a nice flowing lap in the Ferrari 488 GT3. We've got 8.5 minutes left in this, so still a few laps to be run and done if they want to get out there. They should be able to get 5 running laps if they're coming out of the pits now. They have a warm-up lap and they should be able to get 5 runners off on the dirt there with one wheel, so hopefully that doesn't incur any incidents for him.
Working our way into 8 minutes remaining in the session. Kevin still has a hot time at 1:21.9. That's going to be very, very hard to beat here, especially, I'm not sure exactly what track conditions we're at, but if we started in the morning session and the track continues to get warmer, it gets that much harder to try and set a good time towards the end of the session on a hot racetrack that's very, very harsh on tyres.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, I suppose, with the GT3s compared to when you're doing the supercars, is that if you want to take tyres in the race, that's a double pit stop, basically. So you see a lot of the guys won't take a second set of tyres when it comes to the pit stop strategy. If you're going to put 20 seconds of fuel in, say 25 seconds of fuel, fill the tank up, it's going to take another 20-odd seconds just to change the tyres. And if we actually go into pit lane, you see the cars go down and come back up again. So very interesting, the difference there with the different types of cars when it comes to iRacing with the pit stop strategies. I would doubt with a 1-hour race they're going to take tyres tonight. It's just going to be when they're going to take the fuel. And that's probably what we need to look at with 40. I'm going to say we're going to get 40 to 42 laps, depending on safety car. 44 if we get a good run. We're going to have to get around about lap 17, I would say, before we start to see them come in.
Start with 40-something litres in the tank, and that doesn't get you quite to the halfway point, because you still need to take 70 or 80 to get home to the finish. Well, that was the case at Oran Park last week anyway, and I was asking a million questions as Fitzroy Beaumont goes off big time at the kink. Checking out the lap times though, Matty. Sam Dicker, 1:21.850. That is fast, as my dog is trying desperately to get on top of me, sitting in my sim rig.
He's just getting excited for the race, mate. He's getting the front row seat to the screens. Oh, no, Sebastian Guest is on, and looks, we almost gave him the camera cursor. He went and bit a bit of dirt. That just flies up into the intake. That's all right. Block the radiator. Well, a wheel off under brakes. That's going to get nice and squirrely as he goes down. Cracks down through the corkscrew there and down to the rainy curve.
That was a wild ride there for Seb, the youngster, but he's managed to get it squared up. And that's one of the big things that comes to you when you do enough laps in iRacing, is not necessarily how to drive the car faster, but how to stop yourself from crashing.
Yes. I'm just having a look at some of the comments we've got on our social media, and of course Christian Guest was the fastest pack up we have ever done to get here in time.
Well, imagine, because typical kart meetings will run till about midday on the Sunday program, especially for a regional race. And then you've got to pack up. Then you've got to sit around for the presentations. And then you've got a 4 to 4.5 hour drive. And we are racing from 6:30 tonight. That is a big ask.
Yeah, it's a huge day, isn't it? But good to go. The commitment they've got to the series and to get out. The Sebastian Guest just getting around now in the Audi and currently sitting in 12th position at the moment with a 1:23.075. He's just behind Peter B with a 0:54 and 0:36 to Kieran Ellis in 10th and 0:19 to Beaumont. They're all in the 1:23, so he's only got to go like a 10th faster, and all of a sudden he's going to put himself up into 9th position. Well, actually, if he goes a 10th faster, he's going to go a long way up.
It's super tight in this field so far, in the 13-car field, and there's just that little bit of time is going to push you up. I mean, Sebastian's looking to jump several guys, as you said, but there's big gaps between groups of drivers. You've got these guys. So Sam Dicker goes to a 21.7. All right, now he's just taking the mickey.
That's just not fair. He's a freak, I'm telling you.
There's the word alien comes to mind. I've known Sam since he was a toddler. And that's scary because that makes me feel old after my birthday on Friday. But it's amazing how quick he can push these things. And why not? He's coming on the confidence high as well, coming off a win in KZ2 today. But that's insane, 121.7 over the rest of the field who've been practicing all weekend.
And I think the hardest part would be getting out of a car. You spend 4 hours driving home, having that feel back, the road noise, everything like that. I know we simulate that here, but having that feedback and you know, like when we look at the gyrocam, actually feeling the simulator go side to side. And I know he probably doesn't have that set up with the hydraulics. So coming out of driving all day to then get into a virtual cockpit that doesn't have quite all those same familiar settings is super impressive.
Especially coming off a 4.5 hour drive or 4 hour drive after spending a weekend racing a 6-speed gearbox kart. Just to add to the mix, it's a big ask. The same here for Mason Harvey as well. He was down at Albany as well, running his energy course kart and having a crack at it in the West Australian KZ series. Caleb Sumich was down there joining in. There's a lot of very, very quick drivers. There's big lose. Oh no, the Energy Boys getting together.
What are they doing? Dylan Guest just coming out of the pit lane. He's got himself 3 minutes left to get a hot lap in. If he wants to get it done, the outlap's not going to be as quick. In the meantime, Paul Mansell goes up to number 2, runs a 1:21.820. So he's still a 10th off of Sam Dicker, but putting a 10th on Kevin Norman, putting himself right in the mix to start on the front row at the moment.
A big step there, and that gives us a bit of a taste for what could be a really good fight in this hour-long race here at Laguna Seca. If we can get Sam Dicker and Paul Mansell in a bit of a dogfight to last 1 hour with a safety car to kind of reset the gaps and bring the lesser driver back into the party again, somewhere in the back end of the race would be awesome.
Yeah, they've had some epic battles actually going on throughout this series. So expect to see them in. Gianni Luzzu, though, in race mode is super fast. I mean, he hasn't quite pulled off the qualifying at the moment. I mean, in saying that, he's not far off the top 3, but he hasn't quite pulled it off tonight. But in race conditions, Gianni just seems to just get that focus and step it up that next level.
As we watch one of the Guesty boys get all crossed up on the way out onto the Rahal Straight. Dylan Guest continues on through, currently 13th fastest on track with a 1:23.6 in the Audi R8. His brother Seb just had a big moment through the kink, and that pretty much gives him no opportunity to get a lap in before the end of the session. Peter B. I like how he stayed with the one livery, the one car. This is how he gets it done. And him and Neil Woodburn going to follow each other around out of the corkscrew here. Well,
there's no need to overcomplicate things, is there? Keep it simple. It looks good. We know who he is every week. We don't have to guess who that is in the livery. We know it's the Italian Stallion every time we look at that car instantly. And super impressive in the back half of the season as well. The amount of improvement he's made in the simulator has really impressed me, and getting some better finishes starting to accumulate a few points there in the background, and it's good to see Peter B having a fat time here in the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series, of course, all thanks to Arise Racing, Sam Dicker Motorsport, and Direct Industries as well. Neil Woodburn just trying to get that power down, trying to apply as much accelerator as possible without spinning those rear wheels, and doesn't do it as successfully as what Peter B has done in the Ferrari. There's not a chance he's going to step out of that Ferrari, Peter B.
No chance. No chance at all. It was interesting chatting with Sam Dicker about pedals and different setups on the pedal. And he was actually telling me he's done a little bit of work with Peter B, helping him get a really, really stiff brake pedal. And it actually shaved, I think he said, 1.5 seconds off of Peter's lap times by giving him an ultra stiff brake pedal and making him wear karting boots.
Really? I suppose that's one
a big thing, because I'm looking at these load cell pedals. I've got my feet on my pedals right now. They're soft. They're real soft. So you always start to wonder, like, oh, should I go buy those karting boots so I could actually go faster?
Well, you've got to simulate the conditions, don't you? And surprisingly, then the checkered flag has come out for qualifying session with the time still up on the screen. I do know there's a couple of minutes there for everyone to pull in and finish their lap, so that might be all it is. Everyone will get to finish the lap they're on at the moment, but of course that is iRacing telling us that the session has finished. Just having a look up on our event screen to see if anything has really happened there, and it doesn't look like it has. So the session coming to an end for qualifying. There'll be a couple of cars left out on track, and we'll try and find out who that is. Paul Mansell looks like he is trying to get one last lap in. He's still going to start off the front of the grid, though, which is going to be super interesting for him. Just going to have a look up here. Looks like maybe he has gone in now. It's just he's still in the session, but the session will change over very shortly. No, it's just the camera system seems to have done a couple of weird things for us. Gianni's still out there as well. Got to complete this lap. Just trying to see where Paul is. Paul's actually gone on the pits now. So let's see how Gianni goes in this final lap. Can he get himself on the front row of the grid? He's run a 121.84 since we've been talking about this. Kevin Norman's in the 121s as well. Our top four all running there. Our first two rows of the grid. What does he do? He's coming up with the start-finish line. Can he get past Paul Mansell? No, 121.92. So will not improve on that one. And I think he may be the last guy out there. I'm just going to have a look as it looks like. Do we have Mason Harvey still getting a lap in? No, he is run and done, and Kieran Ellis is the only other one showing up on my timing screen. Gone in. Look at the anime on that one.
It's bright. You need the sunnies for that one.
You reckon you need the sunnies? Qualifying session it is then, run and done. So let's have a look at how it all ended out with our qualifying results. Sam Dicker being up the top there in the Audi R8 LMS, and it was a 121.724, so he had a 10th over the rest of the field there, and you can see that nearly a 10th. Paul Mansell behind by 0.097 of a second. Then it's Gianni Lutzu in third, Kevin Norman in fourth, Mason Harvey fifth, Craig Spencer sixth, Neil Woodburn in seventh, Justin McLean makes it in eight, Fitzroy Beaumont in nine, Sebastian Guest is in your top 10, and then it goes to Kieran Ellis, Peter B, and Dylan Guest gets around in the 13th position. So 13 cars here tonight. It's going to be a big one. We'll wait to see. There we go. Sam Dicker is on the start line, ready to go. Let's have a look up here. We'll put the time remaining. That's obviously the changeover of the session, waiting for all the cars now to be on the grid. Paul Mansell, he's already on the grid next to him.
Well, you get that 2 minutes to be able to get yourself sorted. This is where the guys will go straight to grid. They'll spend a bit of time trying to sort out their fuel load. If they haven't got macros or voice commands set up in the background with different Race Lab or overlay products and voice commands and crew chief, they'll take the time to manually go through, uncheck the tires, for example, make sure you're not going to throw new tires on during the pit stop, set their refueling load or clear off any remaining sets they want, and they'll get everything set up and just take a very brief moment. But there's not even enough time to get out and run to the loo. You have not even 2 minutes from the time you get out of your qualifying race screen to jump into the starting grid, and we are set to go racing.
Here we go. Sam Dick is going to lead things out here. Looks like he's going to get a clean start too, out in front. And who goes past Gianni Lutzu? Is that who follows him through by the looks of it? Makes a move up, and so does Kevin Norman. Paul Mansell with a shocking start this time.
Gianni with a fantastic run at it, though. That puts Paul Mansell down to the 4th spot. Is Sam leading the way out of the Andretti hairpin for the first time in a 1 hour race. Kieran Ellis exit stage left in the Anime Audi, and Peter B off the road at turn 3 or 4 as well.
We might have a quick look at that one there. I'm just going to have a look at Kieran Ellis here and see if we can grab exactly what happened.
Down into the hairpin. He's okay. He's looking good at the moment. He's got clean air. Where did it all go wrong? He's gone for a look. He got tagged from behind, it looked like.
I think that might be Sebastian Guest gave him a little bit of a nudge.
That's a shame. That could have been the classic old netcode issue. But without much further investigation, it's hard to tell as we pick up with Paul Mansell into the 4th spot after losing ground at the start. He's got to find his way around Kevin Norman in the Flatout Karts entry as we grab Craig Spencer into P5. Can he hold on to this, Matty?
I don't know. Paul Mansell's just done a bit of a dive there, and it looks like he's trying to get past Kevin Norman. Hard on the brakes in that last corner, turn number 11. It's just over 90 degrees. Now we get the run down the straight. He has to slot back in behind, and Craig Spencer all over the back. I've got fingers crossed for Craig, actually, because he's been unfortunate at quite a few races. Is there. Paul Mansell does a dive and gets the move done and moves up into second. So what's happened to Sam Dicker, actually? I am going to go back because he is down the back. We've missed this. He's done a pit stop on lap 1. Sam Dicker is in the pits. That is strange.
That's an interesting one.
Very interesting. Maybe he thinks he can make it home. Is that what he's going to do, or has he got a bit of net code? Maybe he's broken something.
Call. I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm going to go find out.
Yeah, you go and find that out. Get into our Discord channel. So Paul Mansell now in second. Leading is Gianni Latsu at the front of the race. Kevin Norman in third. Craig Spencer in fourth. Neil Woodburn in fifth. And Mason Harvey in sixth. So didn't look like the Lambo really wanted to get off the line for Paul Mansell. But he's definitely fast in race mode. As we have a look down there, I'm just having a look. Mason Harvey looks like an incident, a bit of an off track there as well just recently. And we'll head over to him. I don't know what he's doing back there. Let's have a look at actually where he's gone off track here. Mason Harvey. Check out the Medicab Media replay. He's coming around the background. Neil Woodburn just in front of him. He's got Fitzroy Beaumont behind. So head down the main straight. There's a bit of dust kicked up here for a second.
Okay. Just give me a moment because I lost my my shared screen with you, Matty, for our live.
Makes it pretty hard for you to see what's going on. I'm actually going back to a replay here because we had Mason Harvey go off. I'm trying to find out where that happened, but it looks like maybe it might just be an off track there, maybe just dropped a wheel, but thought he dropped back down quite a few paces at the moment. Paul Mansell now still in second, but Kevin Norman's putting the pressure on from behind, and Fitzroy Beaumont's in there as well.
This is hot.
Oh, that's Sam Dicker. That's Sam Dicker back in the field. So he is now lapping behind Kevin Norman, I think.
So Sam is racing with a wounded setup. The shifter setup on his wheel is not working as expected. He's using a button box to change gears. And he unintentionally selected reverse on the start line, let off the brake, and received a jump start penalty. So he's going for broke, serving his pit stop and his penalty in the early stage of the race, and he's going to hope to try and make it up over the course of the next 56 minutes of racing.
Well, I suppose the key part of this now is to get back in the lead in front of Gianni, because safety car, I expect they'll give him a wave around come safety car time if we get one, but if you can get in front, it just means you can run around the back, can't you, and really get right on the back of the safety car as soon as possible.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge ask for Sam to try and charge through the field when this safety car eventually comes out. I mean, he's got to endure the next 25 minutes at least to get to the other side of the pit stops and survive that long without any other incidents. But he's parking himself right up the back of Paul Mansell, who is actually racing for outright points and would be expecting to racing on track at this point. So he's probably going to use Paul as a bit of a pacemaker at the moment, use him as a metronome, keep clicking off the laps, and hopefully get that wave around when the time comes. And then he's got to do the real hard work from the back of the pack.
Well, good luck to him as Craig Spencer now, and it looks like Fitzroy Beaumont are going to get locked into a little bit of a battle here for fourth position. So Fitzroy Beaumont, the Azure Autosports, looking racy here tonight, actually. He's moving through the field. He started off a bit further down. I think he was back in 8th position or something come qualifying, 8th or 9th. So he's done a fantastic start in the Ferrari as we are already 5.5 minutes into this race, and he's moved past Craig Spencer to take that fourth position. The next car quite a little bit in front of him, though. He's got 3 seconds to make up to catch up to Kevin Norman, who is under the back wing of his teammate Sam Dicker. And if you missed us at the start, the car actually reversed. And we did see that up on screen, him reverse, and I thought that was odd. And he's received a pit lane penalty for that one, hence why he is down the field. And he's actually sitting behind Paul Mansell in track position at the moment, who is in 2nd position. But Sam has a lot of work to do to get past Paul Mansell. Then he's got to catch up to Gianni Lutzu, he's just blown away. Like, we look at this, he is almost 3 seconds in front of Paul Mansell.
This could be a huge opportunity for Gianni here to score that big W against his name here in the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series. But it is such early days yet as we follow along with Mason Harvey and Justin McLean in the 662 Lamborghini, chasing him around the track. Is he the only? No, he's not the only. Of course, Paul Mansell is the other one. One of only 2 Lamborghinis in our field here tonight.
Yeah, it hasn't been the most popular car, hasn't it, the Lamborghini? I think the first week it was released into the GT3 series, it was used by a few people, but a lot of people went away from that. And the Audis have been super strong throughout this series. Obviously, ninth round here tonight at Laguna Seca. And yeah, they haven't been as popular as the Audis have been. I know a few people, plenty of people stuck with the Audis. Some of the teams stuck with the Ferraris, and we'll catch up with Peter B a bit later on, the Italian stallion sitting in 10th place at the moment. He's stuck with that same livery. Car looks good. They go down through the corkscrew. Mason Harvey has to hold on to it. He's been involved in a little bit of an incident early, went off track, and that's why we see him so far down in the field at the moment. And now he's got himself in a little bit of a battle here with Justin McLean, who's putting all sorts of pressure on the back, and he gets the move done. Mason Harvey puts wheels out on the dirt, but they're holding on. He's got the inside run.
This is a clutch point of the racetrack to get it done. He's going to have to leave room on the exit, and he lets Justin use the exit rumble strip, and they come out side by side and making a run to the line. This is a fight for, like, 3rd from last on track. This is fantastic.
Oh, they're too wide at one point there. You can just see him on the outside of the car as they go around the corner. Now he's on the inside run again, though. Can he get it done? Can he keep that nose in? That's the biggest question here. As he looks forth,
it's got running off. He dropped the wheel.
Oh, that's not good. They come up to turn number 4 now. They get a little bit of a run here, and you think the Lambo, there's not as much straight for the Lambo at the moment, but you'd expect the aerodynamics of the Lamborghini to be a little bit faster if it can get the legs stretched in one of the long runs.
Well, the Lamborghini is typically a faster car, but the way this E-Series runs is we come up with a baseline for each car at each round. So all the cars have been tested and been tried to make sure that they are all they're all capable of producing the same lap time, and it really comes down to the driver's individual preference and driving style for how they're meant to be driven and versus how you like to drive your car. And I think most people just settle for the Audi because it's an easier car all round to drive, but in many cases it's not the fastest. As Mason Harvey drops a wheel again on the way out of turn 10.
Yeah,
the Lambo is mighty quick in a straight line.
Neil Woodburn's just behind them, actually, as you can see, just back. Look, they got a bit of a battle now. That's Fitzroy Beaumont and Craig Spencer. So Craig Spencer has actually got that move done. That's impressive there. Craig Spencer now. Fitzroy Beaumont back to 5th. Neil Woodburn, Sebastian Guest not far behind. I might see if I can actually grab that past it. I'll see if I can find somewhere. No, it's not going to come up in my system where he's got that done. We are going to have a little bit of a guess here, though. I'm going to go back to this replay because we've got some incident points come up for Fitzroy Beaumont, and this might be exactly where it's happened. No, it's going to take me to Justin McLean. It's not going to take me to Mr. Fitzroy Beaumont. Here we go. Let's try this one. This is the replay from a little bit earlier where there was an incident point. Now, Craig Spencer at this point, I believe, has got the pass done somewhere here. It may just be an off-track incident. I don't believe you get any incident points for what I've seen so far. So surprised there that the Andretti hairpin, though, is a tough one as they come around this kink. No, he's just picked something up there. Maybe just a slight off-track. You know, well, we'll get back to the live racing action now for you as we are on board with Fitzroy Beaumont. Sebastian Guest Craig Spencer just opening up a nice little lead in front of him now as he's got the move done. It's opening out to 0.7 of a second.
Good to see Craig having a good crack at it here. Checking out the gap out front, though. Gianni by 3 seconds over Paul Mansell. He is bolting here. And if it weren't for the fact that we know that eventually a safety car is going to come in this race, he would be looking very tidy here at Laguna Seca.
He's just reset the fastest lap of the race so far. And look at that, a 122.23. Paul Mansell, 122.26. Kevin Norman, a 122.35. I'm looking for Sam Dicker, who's already moved up a position now. He is in 12th position. He's done a 122.35s with Kevin Norman. And both teammates in the Audis, I think they would have done quite a few laps this week to set things up. So interestingly, Paul Mansell's just a little bit faster than him, but Gianni Latsu is the standout at the moment and just increasing that interval gap back to Paul Mansell. You can just see him in the background at the moment.
He's trying to stalk him and stay in touch. That's the gap. That's what 3-point-something seconds looks like on track. How cagey would Paul Mansell be right now, just watching these 2 flat-out Karts entries behind you, stalk you around Laguna Seca, and just staying in touch, just showing their nose in the mirror every once in a while.
Yeah, and he would know that Sam Dicker is a lap down. And with the rivalry going on in this championship, I am confident that unless Sam Dicker has a faster car and can pull a faster time than Paul Mansell, he is not going to step aside and go, hey, mate, just get in front of me and have a good crack at this race. If there's no reason for him to do that, he's not going to.
Absolutely. Sam is going to be on a mission to get this done, but it's going to be a huge ask. And at what point does Sam start to think, well, maybe I'm taking the mickey here? If he makes something happen here tonight, this is going to be something else from the youngster in the flat-out Karts entry. That's a great shot off the curbing as they head up towards the corkscrew. Where have you been hiding that one, Matty?
That's a static cam view, and it comes with the camera packs here when we get into iRacing. But yeah, it picks itself. You can go in and adjust them a little bit if you know what you're doing, and I've decided that I don't want to risk it. But the static cam does bring up some fantastic views, doesn't it?
It does. iRacing menus are not friendly, to say the least. iRacing settings are borderline downright horrible to mess with.
I'm just going to go back now because it looks like Craig Spencer might be getting under attack again. I do believe from Fitzroy Beaumont. They are starting to close that gap up there. We get on board with him at the moment. He's just holding on to this Audi. Fitzroy Beaumont closing that gap. And Neil Woodburn's not that far behind, really. This is a 3-way battle that we're looking at the moment.
I've seen Neil Woodburn having a solid crack at it here. Fitzroy is fantastic to race with. He'll always give you room and always leave you some space on track, and that's the hallmark of a very respectful driver. But he's having a good crack at it here, and he's got to be careful because he can't attack too much and risk making a mistake. If he had nothing but clean air behind him, he would be going hell for leather trying to chase down Craig. But he knows that if he drops the wheel or loses time, he's going to have Neil right up his backside, if not in front of him. And you don't want to risk that at such an early stage of the race and upset your day.
No, that's exactly right. As they come around, they've just got to be careful here. Craig Spencer, he's had a bit of bad luck in this series, doesn't want to make a mistake, and that's the biggest thing for this one. Does not want to make a mistake as they head onto the final corner for this lap, turn number 11, and it's just over 90 degrees, probably about a 95 to 100 degree corner. Not that long of straights here at Laguna Seca either, and that's probably a bit of a disadvantage for the Lambo. I know it likes to stretch the legs. Even the Ferraris do as well. The Audi's a bit of an all-rounder when I've turned some laps in that, so it's probably the best all-round car, which is why we've seen so many of the drivers stick with that throughout the series.
And then BMW just understeers.
Yes, and
according to what I've been told.
yeah. Yes, but you know, interesting that it has been very popular amongst all the go-karting guys.
Yeah, well, the go-karting guys like to throw it around, bring its neck. So having a car that's somewhat safe to drive and easy to put in a random position and extract a bit more lap time out of it is going to be a lot easier to do an hour-long race than a car that is twitchy and hard to maneuver through the corners, but yet fast in a straight line, because it's certainly not the quickest way around a track to do 40 laps in a row and have them be consistent.
especially when they're coming off these big weekends where they have been racing, to bring Dylan Guest up. Although he is rounding out the pack here tonight, he's been in the series, and they've had a big drive back from Albany today. So he's been in the car for quite some time after racing karts today, and he's got on the simulator and got out there and turned some laps. And he's got a little bit of work to do, but he still is on the lead lap. That is the most important part. Actually, oh no, he gets loose. No. We're giving him the camera curse. Let's go try out his brother. Let's go see what Seb's doing.
Well, it's good to see the Guesty boys both getting involved at the same time. There was once upon a time where they only had one rig, and they were going to share the duties week in, week out. But now I think Christian got roped into it, and he'll probably agree with me here. The boys tricked me. The boys got me, and he's got two rigs set up now, and he's got both boys racing at the same time, in addition to their go-karting duties, and Christian's own rally sprint and rally driving duties as well. In between wrenching on all these things, they're a busy little family, the Guesty boys.
And that's what's so impressive, really, that they've stuck with it on this Sunday night. It would have been very easy this week to say, you know what, it's just a little bit too hard to be part of the Flatout Karts GT3 series, but they've shown up and they're putting the laps in at the moment, not doing too bad in 7, because not too far in front is Neil Woodburn. He's just off the back of this little battle between Craig Spencer and Fitzroy Beaumont.
Going to jump on the classical chase cam. This takes you back to the old Gran Turismo days as someone's going in the pits. Neil Woodburn in for the pits as well. We're at the 43-minute mark, and we are starting to see these first pit stops come.
Well, let's have a look down pit lane, and here they are. Paul Mansell's in as well. That's very interesting.
Craig Spencer in there as well. The blue mirrors, give it away before you try and read the number of the 73 on the front. So this pit stop puts them in. They're going to have to throw in a good 70 to 80 litres in the tank to get this stop done and get them fuel to finish here.
Yeah, they've all followed each other in, though, haven't they? That's the biggest thing there. They've followed in. They're not the only one on this pit stop strategy. Of course, Craig Spencer in the pits as well. So it means Gianni Latto out in front. What will he do, I suppose? That is the biggest question there. What will Gianni do out on track as we get on board with him at the moment? He's got to decide. As you look at his relative, does he know? Has he got a pit crew in the background there helping him out in the race? I mean, you can have you can basically have a spotter there that can talk to you as well when it comes to iRacing. They might be saying, mate, Paul Mansell's in the lanes, come in now. Because one thing Paul Mansell's done really well throughout this series is get his fuel numbers very, very precise. And he's barely had enough fuel to do a lap at the end of the race, but it means he's undercut most of his competitors by, almost a second, sometimes over a second in pit lane, which has been a big advantage for him.
Well, it's interesting to see Gianni just blew past pit lane entry like he had no intention at all. But he'd surely be starting to think about it. You want to get as close to the halfway point as you can, not take an unnecessarily heavy fuel load in your pit lane, but you don't want to be under-fueling yourself if you know you want to drive it like a classical sprint race all the way to the finish instead of trying to conserve fuel. Gianni is the type of driver who probably feels more confident if he has fuel to run and if he doesn't have to start thinking about conserving. Whereas Paul Mansell's got a little bit more maturity about him, and he'll be happy to lift and coast and try and save fuel at the end if it means it can gain him some track position. But I'd expect Gianni to stay out a couple more laps, give himself the chance to throw a little bit less fuel in it, and still be good to run to the finish, and be able to run in full fuel map and revving it all the way out through the rev range and through the gears at the back end of this race.
Well, why wouldn't you? Because on lap 12, he just ran the fastest lap of the session again, a 1:22.02. So why would you not stay out there if you're running these times? So he comes into the pits now. So this one's going to be the one to watch. How will he go when it comes to his pit stop strategy? I'm just trying to get the times up for Paul Mansell and pit lane, waiting for that to update. So if we have a look at the pit stops at the moment, it looks like Paul Mansell's taken one, Craig Spencer, Neil Woodburn, Sam Dickers had the drive through. That's why we see a penalty up there. Mason Harvey, Dylan Guest and Gianni Latto is in the pits at the moment. Let's have a look at the pit stop time though and see exactly how long he is up on the wheels for. And that looks like that's probably Kevin Norman, I would say, in behind him. Let's have a look. Kevin Norman's pulled in behind him. Gianni will get out of there first, though. Pit stop time here, 18, 20. We're going up to 20 seconds. 28 seconds was Mason Harvey's pit stop time. So that seemed to be just fuel there, 28 seconds. How close is this going to be? 27.5.
That's pretty tight on fuel. He's taken it a couple of laps later, but that should be enough to see him to the end without having to worry too much. Now, how aggressive does he push on the outlap here? Because this pit lane exit is very, very tight. There's no rubber down. It's dusty, and it's low on grip, but he executes it nicely, and it's going to be interesting to see his outlap time compared to that of Paul Mansell as Fitzroy Beaumont will take over the race lead. Kevin Norman rejoins just in front of Paul Mansell.
That's why I came back to that, because it had Kevin Norman showing in front of Paul Mansell coming out of the pits, thinking that Paul Mansell took a pit stop 2 laps ago, and with the undercut there, he was running in second position. So Kevin Norman has been the benefactor out of this one.
He's done very well for himself here, and it's amazing to see the undercut not really work there for Paul Mansell.
Yeah, I'm super surprised at that one as well. Kevin Norman may have been, they may be looking at their fuel levels here and doing whatever they can to try and beat Paul Mansell, because he has been the champion when it comes to the pit stop strategies, I do believe, so far in this series. You know, we've had plenty of racing there, but he's always got himself back in the race through pit stop strategy. So to be pushed back to third, he's got a little bit of a charge now. He's going to have to get on board. I know he didn't get the best start either in the Lambo, but a couple of laps in, that thing seems to just get to the right temperature. He's going to have to run it all the way home. Let's see how light he goes in the fuel load in the final laps, where he comes pretty quick in then. Gianni Lutzer was really fast for the 2 laps following Paul Mansell coming in, so they're obviously getting very light on pits. It looks like Sebastian Guest now on the pit lane, Justin McLean's pitted, Peter B, Kieran Ellis, so they're all coming in now, and lap 14, 15. So I was 2 or 3 laps off, mate. I apologise to all of our viewers out there.
The lap calculations can sometimes be a little bit confusing, because you never know what's going to come out in the race conditions, and we actually don't know what the race conditions are going to be set to for the session. We don't really find out until it actually happens, which keeps us guessing as well. As Kevin Norman rejoins in third then. Fitzroy Beaumont, is he going to be the last one on track who hasn't taken his pit stop?
Yes, he may be, as we will bring up the pit stops again. And Fitzroy Beaumont is the only one not to pit. And remembering, though, that Sam Dicker, that was a drive-through penalty there through the pits. So Sam Dicker will still have to come in and grab fuel and tyres.
It's going to be interesting to see what Sam does, because he did take a stop and then the penalty, which is why he sat in the stop for 1 minute and 6.
And there you go.
As Fitzroy Beaumont comes in.
So there are our times up on the screen at the moment. We're going to bring up the pit stop time. Sam Dicker, 67 seconds. So maybe he was allowed to take fuel. I wouldn't think he would have was a pit stop penalty, so he would have had to stop in there. So the times go up. These aren't going to go down to the thousandths of a second, but they are going to give you to the closest second. As we have a look there, look, 28 seconds for Gianni, 28 seconds for Norman. Paul Mansell did 26 seconds. I told you, he's the king of the pit stop. How he ended up back in third position with the undercut surprises me, and we'll have to find out exactly what happened there. Craig Spencer, 27 seconds. Fitzroy Beaumont, 29. So he's taken on a heap of fuel, and Spencer will just go past, and they'll get back into this battle they were locked in earlier. I'm trying to see where Neil Woodburn is, because he's further down with Sebastian Guest in front of him, because they were in a great little battle earlier as well. So it's unfortunate for Neil Woodburn, who's gone a bit further back.
He took a lot of fuel, though. 32 seconds was his stop time. So that's going to hurt him, but it means he might have extra fuel in the tank that he doesn't have to worry too much about his fuel burn towards the back end of the race. 36 minutes to go here for this round of the Flatout Karts GT3 E Series from Laguna Seca, as we are starting to keep an eye out for when we're going to see that magical little safety car to come out and equalise this race.
The magic yellow flag is what it is. The magic yellow catch-up, the wave around. It'll be interesting to see if that's what we are waiting for Sam Dicker. If he can get in the pits, in and out, dash and splash and dash, he's going to have to put the bare minimum fuel in, though. He's been chewing up a lot of those tyres, pushing really hard in this race to try and get back that time with that pit stop drive through there where he went a lap down. Whether he can stay out there so he's in the lead at the moment. If he can get far enough in front, do you think maybe, well, he's not in front, but if he's back on the lead lap, can he get in the pits and get back out, then get on the tail end of this race?
Well, I'm really unknown whether he needs to pit or not. I think he might have taken some fuel, which would allow him to tick off the mandatory pit stop required for the race, but his fuel burn would become a concern. But these cars, the maximum fuel capacity, I think, goes to 120 litres for the GT3 cars, which allows him to theoretically have enough fuel to finish.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if you.
that.
I'll be interested to see if you're allowed to actually take fuel in the penalty pit stop.
It does combine. So if it's a pit stop penalty, he can complete the stop, and he can clear fuel and tyres, so the stop is almost zero. But then he would lose the pit transit time in the process. So if he took fuel, which I believe he did, he spent 1 minute and 30 in the lane, and it was 1 minute and 6 in the box. So his 39-second penalty from 1 minute and 6 puts him around that 30-second marker to get it filled up, where he already had something like 35 to 40 litres in the tank. So the dumb math in the top of my mind, I think Sam is actually fueled to finish.
I'm going to go with you there. Sebastian Guest has just dropped back, actually. I think something may have... I'm just having a look there. No, it might be Neil Woodburn, though, in a little bit of a position tussle now with Kieran Ellis for 6th place. There, Neil Woodburn, after the pit stop, is not back on those two in front, where we saw Craig Spencer and Fitzroy Bowman in a nice little battle, and we could always see Neil Woodburn just in the background. He stands out with the high vis on, obviously, in the BMW, the sole BMW in the race here tonight. And now he's got Kieran Ellis all over the back in that beautiful anime-looking car. And as we'll get on board, let's have a look through some of the suspension here and see if we can see what the actual anime is. Look, he's got the lady down the side, and he's got the big pink mirrors, the fluoro green, and the scream of the V10 when we get on this camera angle is impressive.
I like the chrome finish. It is a gimmick because sometimes it really doesn't look great, but I do enjoy it. I've managed to get my my graphic designer to throw some chrome on my own iRacing entry. It's the same guy who actually did the energy guys, the likes of Mason Harvey and Gianni Lutzu. Ross Fallon did my paints and threw in some chrome in there. It's cool to do inside the old iRacing platform. And it's another piece of the puzzle that you can add to your iRacing scheme and build your own little profile and really make it your own. And another thing that makes iRacing such a unique platform that everyone enjoys so much.
It's another thing that not only do you spend 10 hours on the simulator because you get excited, then you go and spend 2 hours because you go into Photoshop and you do a change, and you first time round you're going, you know, you can make out the doors, you can make out the bonnet, all those things, but sometimes when you get the layout, you go, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, that's the lights. Maybe I'll try something, and you do it, and then you realise, no, it's not the right position. You load it up on Trading Paints and get it in the screen, and then you think, I better go back and have another look at that one. Try it again, and yeah, all sorts of things happen. It's another couple of hours you spend out of the 10 hours you spend on iRacing. You spend another 2 doing Photoshop.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong. And then you spend another 2 hours taking photos with the replay. Yes,
it's all bad. It is all bad.
So, Matty, when it comes to safety cars, when do you reckon you should have one?
Look, everyone's pitted. They're going to make it home. I don't think it's going to change too much. I think you're right about Sam Dicker, like looking at those times. If he had to serve that 30-second penalty and then we add on fuel, even if he only took fuel, I think he's back in the running. It's not going to matter, I don't think, with a safety car. Just bring it out. Anytime from now on. I mean, probably an advantage there for Paul Mansell. As I look at Kevin Norman and him now in a little bit of a race there, maybe Kevin's had a little bit of a slip up because that time has dropped by 0.4 of a second in a lap, which I'm just trying to get the times up here for the last laps. I don't think that Paul Mansell has, undercut him by some ridiculous amount. The previous lap times, if we have a look at them now up on screen, Paul Mansell, though, did a 1:22.09. Compared to a 1:22.4 for Kevin Norman and a 1:22.4 for Gianni. So Kevin Norman really hasn't dropped any pace. I'll take that back. Nothing's happened there. Paul Mansell's just put in some sort of amazing lap where he's gone 4/10 faster in that last lap.
Yeah, Paul is absolutely on a mission right now and having a good crack at it here. He's going to have the advantage when this safety car does eventually come out and pull the whole field together, as we are 30 minutes and 35 from a finish here at Laguna Seca. But at the moment, Kevin Norman is having a fantastic race of his own out here.
Yeah, the Flatout Karts entry in second position. He's got into second position because he did the undercut in the pit stop. They came in late. Him and Gianni spent another couple of laps on Paul Mansell. And despite Paul Mansell having the faster lap time there, he took almost a second and a half, 2 seconds out of the pit stop time, the advantage on that one. So surprising that he's not out in front of Kevin, but Kevin's done everything he can now he's got to try and keep Paul Mansell out for the safety car, make him work for it.
We're just sitting here biting our nails waiting for when we know the safety car is going to come. And I'm going to place a bet on it for you, Matty. 28 minutes.
28 minutes left, you reckon?
I reckon at 28 minutes left, we might see the safety car come out.
All right, I'll go 20.
And I might have some inside information there.
Oh, here we go. That's called insider trading. Just having a look at where the start positions were. Of course, Gianni started out of third, got a fantastic start too, and shot up on the inside of Paul Mansell to take up, to get sort of up there where he's had the opportunity to go into first position. Kevin Norman started out of fourth, so they were both off the second row of the grid. Paul Mansell just didn't quite get the start he wanted in the Lambo, missed that one. Maybe it was he could see Sam Dicker reversing up at one point when he accidentally grabbed reverse, and that's exactly all it was, and put him off a little bit, and Sam Dicker served a drive-through penalty for that one. Fitzroy Bowman started out of ninth. He is now in fourth position. That is a huge 5-position gain there. Craig Spencer, so he has got past Craig Spencer in the meantime while we have been doing this. That is interesting for Fitzroy Beaumont, the Azure Autosports entry in the Ferrari 488 GT3. I'm going to get up here in my instance and find out if Craig Spencer's had an off track, because that is surprising to see that. It's a big gap there now, isn't it? Let's go back to a replay here. I do have something up on my event screen, and for some reason it keeps going to a different driver. There we go. That's him going off.
It's a really easy one to do there, right at turn 5. It's a faster corner than it looks, but it's very easy to get it wrong. But Craig was actually behind as it happened. Yeah,
maybe it's just missed a marker after that. Got him a little...
sideways.
Is that almost a little bit of net code, maybe?
Oh, yeah. From the looks of it, it looks like he got sideways and just grabbed a whole bunch of opposite lock to try and gather up the car. And in the process, shot himself off into the dirt. But he probably had the lesser of two evils there, as he didn't end up actually looping the car. So he kept pointed the right direction and kept going, but he lost the time to Fitzroy Beaumont.
All right, Kevin Norman now under a fair bit of attack from Paul Mansell. It's got under 4, well, it was under 0.4 of a second now. It just goes out as they go around the last couple of corners. This one's going to be super close over the next couple of laps. And at 28 minutes is gone. Where's the safety car, mate? I'm just saying.
Yeah, my insider trading didn't really work too well.
Yeah, they've given you the bum steer. Maybe in the meantime I messaged them and said, hey, double or nothing if you don't bring it out at 28 minutes.
We were both messaging our race director, and the poor guy's having to deal with all their messages as well. And we're just not going to get it.
No, we will get... I'm pretty confident we are going to end up with a safety car here. Kevin Norman in second position with Paul Mansell all over the back, and the injectors online. Lamborghini, you can see him there in third position. I don't know how he's going to make this move, though. That is the question. Where and when does he have the run? Does he sit behind him for a lap? He knows where he's fast. He knows where he feels comfortable on the laps. And I suppose that's the hardest thing as a driver. There's going to be sections of the track where you're not as comfortable as other sections. So where do you take that passing opportunity, and where is the Lambo better at the moment? He's definitely better down that Rahal straight, down the back there. A little bit more runoff there. You can see, look at the difference there. Really wide there for Kevin Norman, and Paul Mansell just really smooth through there in the Lambo. Doesn't put too much steering input into it. A lot of curb usage there, though, for Paul Mansell. This is where the tightest battle we do have at the moment, as Dylan Guest looks like he is 2 laps down now. I'm hoping he's still on our server there. It does look like he is on my timing screen. We'll find out. Let's check you out, though, on social media as we're getting into it. Tyrone Anson, holidays have stitched me up. Missing being on track with the lads. Be back for the final round for the Enduro. It's good to hear that Tyrone will be back, and I'm sure we'll have the livery back on board that we all love to see. Aaron Williams, the great man, Neil Woodburn Racing Live. He is the great man, and we love the livery too. Oh, he's loving the airtime, lads. He's been talking up his chances. I like it when people talk him up. We can get him on here. And Michael Hazel, wishing I was on track. Holidays are no fun without racing. Yes, we do love to see everyone on. And the charge is back on, of course. That's a bit of a shout out. Come on, Dad, the Drift King. That is Peter B. And how about we check in with Peter B? This battle's going on. We'll keep our time on the interval times there to see what's going on. But Peter B, we haven't spent a bit of time. We spent a bit of time looking at him in the qualifying sessions and that. But he's in 12th position at the moment behind Justin McLean. He's not too far back You can see Justin McLean just in front of him, and he was in a bit of a battle with Mason Harvey earlier, who now Mason Harvey is shot out in front. But the Italian stallion staying with that traditional Ferrari, and you got to be if you got that Italian flag on top.
My apologies, Matty. I'm trying to work things out here because the safety car responsibility has been passed to yours truly.
Ah.
And I'm trying to make it happen.
Would you like me to talk you through a couple of things here?
Well, yeah. So I can't see our streaming screen right now because I'm actually inside the iRacing.
Well, what you need to do is go to that little helmet down the left and right-click on that.
Oh, let me load up the sim first because I'm still doing that.
Oh, you're loading up the sim. Well, you've got some time, mate. You need to watch the race. You need to join, and I hope they've given you admin rights, because if they haven't given you admin rights, you're not going to have a fantastic time doing this.
Yeah. All right. So, talk me through it. I've got the helmet in the bottom left-hand side. I'm following Kevin Norman right now.
Right-click on the helmet in the bottom left. Bottom left
Right
it
click?
is. Yep.
Yep.
There should be somewhere there where it says safety car or yellow caution. Is it caution?
I've got throw yellow.
Throw yellow. I reckon that will do us.
You reckon that'll do us?
Oh, no, a little bit off there. What have I done to the Peter B? Oh, where's he gone? Is he back on track? Oh, it's just a bit of a drift. Oh, he's the drift king. Look, I'm going to get some high-tech stickers for him for the high-tech drift series, and I'm going to send you the graphic, Peter B, and I want you to stick the high-tech drift stickers on. You can be a high-tech all-star.
We've had the restart. We've had the safety car thrown, but I didn't do it. So somebody else was jumped in.
Who knows?
Oh, bloody hell. Sam has done it. So I've been informed that Sam has called it at the request of our race director. So I'm going to get out of this bloody sim because my computer is not enjoying doing this.
It's loading up the RAM and chewing up every little bit of... Gianni Lazzu leading this race at the moment, and forget those interval times because that is all going to go away. Your top 20, though, it goes. Gianni Lazzu as the pace car is coming out in 1. Kevin Norman will be right behind him. Paul Mansell. Fitzroy Beaumont, impressive. He started out of 9. Craig Spencer now up into 5th place. So let's see where they all started. And Craig Spencer was 6th position, so he's up 1. Neil Woodburn up a position 2 into 6th. We talk him up, boys. We're going to get to the high-vis car very shortly. Sam Dicker is now in 7th position. Now, he started out of 1st, but had a drive-through penalty. They had a pit stop penalty because he accidentally grabbed reverse on the start line at the very start of the race, and that's what's put him down. I'm interested to see whether I can actually get back to that incident and maybe bring that up on our screen. If I can
You can take us back to the start of the race. You'd be on another level here, Matty.
It can be done. If it's great to do when you're commentating as well, and I need a lot bigger screen. Don't worry, they're coming. They are coming. Okay, let's have a look at the. Let's have a look and see if we can get back to this one and go back to the start of the race. So what you see here, Sam Dickett. See, that's the reverse we grabbed.
There it is. That's enough to give him a 39-second penalty. That hurts.
And this is the start. That Sebastian Guest has to go around. So that was actually looked like Justin McLean that didn't get the start he wanted either. And this is where it all sort of unfolded. Paul Mansell went back. So we're replaying the start of the race here, all thanks to Medicab Media at the moment. As you can see, Gianni Lazzu got through and Kevin Norman, who were on the 2nd row of the grid. They're all wide there. Neil Woodburn's on the inside there in 5th position. So he's under a fair bit of attack as well. That was 6th, actually. Craig Spencer was in front of him. So plenty going on. And Peter B there, you can see him in the background had a huge off. So that is the restart of our race.
We saw Kieran Ellis getting fed off the track there as well. Not a great start for him or Peter B in the opening stage of this one.
While we've got this safety car, let's have a look and see if we can grab this one. Oh, that's being fed off the start there as we go back to... Should be on board with Kieran Ellis, but we're grabbing Justin McLean. That is the restart there, but yeah, unfortunate for him. It might have actually been this one here where he's gone off track. Oh. All right, let's stay on board with him. He came out of this one too, and was there any contact made? This was the restart here where we saw him go off track. Yes, that's right. Got a little bit of a nudge there from that one. We did look at that one a little bit earlier, so he's got the anime on board again. Yeah, that's just a bit of rubbing his racing. That's all that is.
Well, we reset everything. We're back under safety car conditions. Sam Dicker in 7th has the opportunity to drive through the field with 20 minutes to go. Do you want to put your bets down, Matty? Do you reckon he can actually make something happen here?
I think he will. I mean, Sam Dicker's not going to stay with the restart there. Whether he can catch Gianni, I'm going to say that's probably going to be problematic for him to catch Gianni at this stage. He is super fast. I mean, can anyone catch him at the moment? That's really what I'm saying is, can anyone catch him? Paul Mantle's having a go at trying to catch Gianni there. Plenty of other people. Kevin Norman, my prediction is Paul Mantle will go to 2nd, Gianni will win, but won't be surprised if Sam Dicker ends up in 3rd position. I'm predicting he's probably going to get on the podium somewhere. What's going on here? What's happening in the background?
I don't know, everyone's really bunched up right now.
This is the restart. Gianni Latsu's slowed right down there. He's had to wait for the restart zone. I'm just going through and seeing where all these incidents are happening at the moment, and I'm just going to see if I can grab one of those in the replay. This one looks like that's from a long time earlier. So, some issues here, the restart on the flag. Okay, let's have a look at this one on the restart on the Madicap Media replay. As they come around the back. Whoa, they just all get on the brakes.
Oh,
Is that
no.
Sebastian Guest at the back? Just concertina effect.
Peter B's facing the wrong way. That is a shocker. Poor Peter B. He's looking the other way as they're all taking off on the restart. That's going to hurt.
Well, you can't drift when your back wheels are off the ground. That is one of the things you do need. You need to have some back wheels to stop the slide just a little bit. So that's very unfortunate there for Peter B and pushed him back into 11th position because he was doing pretty well into this race too. Fitzroy Beaumont has made it back up into 4th in the Azure Autosports entry of the Ferrari. So he has got past Craig Spencer. Well, he did that a little bit earlier, didn't he, actually? He got it up into 4th position. So he's on a charge. He started in 9th position in this one. Now, watch to see whether Paul Mansell can stay with him on the restart. He has to get past Kevin Norman. He cannot wait any longer. He has to use this advantage, get past him, because Sam Dicker is already up into 6th. He's made 1 position past Neil Woodburn in this short period of 1 lap.
He's going to set his sides forward to try and chase down Craig Spencer. Now, I'm sure if I dip my head into the driving chat on our Discord channel, the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series, there'd be some conversation going on. It would go a little bit like this. Sam telling Craig, I'm coming for you, don't bin me. And Craig saying, yeah, no worries, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Craig will be like, and you're not having this position unless you're faster than me, so put up a fight.
We had Justin McLean rejoining them there on the exit of pit lane. So was McLean in for an unscheduled pit stop?
Well, he was caught up in that incident on the restart at the back. Yeah, maybe. That could have been caused by him initially, yeah. Maybe not under brakes there. And although I didn't quite get the angle right on there to see where Sebastian Guest ended up in that little mix as well. So, unfortunate for all of them on the restart, but a nice little battle here. Just remembering that car in front of Justin McLean, that is not in the battle for position. That is a car that they are coming up, a lapped car.
It looked like Justin went to the pit lane and served a penalty of some sort, as his pit lane time was at the minute 25 marker. He's dropped down to 12th, of course, between Peter B and Dylan Guest as he pulls out of the way. That's doing the right thing there. That's great work from Justin. He knows he doesn't want to be an affecting driver in this race, and he's pulled off to the side and let them all go. He's going to continue to drive the race out of this pack and not impacting someone else's event.
So this guy out in front, Gianni Latsu, he has just done a 1:23.89 in race. In race mode, he is setting qualifying times right now.
A 1:21.89. That is flying for Gianni. That's what happens now. We're 15 and a half minutes from home. We're starting to get into that lighter fuel load. We'd expect them to have about similar fuel load right now as to what they had in the opening stages of the race, but the tyres have come into song. The iRacing tyre model, tyre wear goes very, very long for these GT3 cars with a hard tyre compound on board. So we can expect them to start setting laps with almost the negative tyre deg situation that we sometimes rarely hear about in various forms of motorsport. And he's throwing down those sub 122 laps. He wants to win this one tonight.
So I'm just having a look here. As Fitzroy Beaumont has gone off. So I'm just trying to see what has happened here with Fitzroy Beaumont. We can go back to Madcap Media replay and find out exactly what's happened. Try and get a better view of this one as they come around. Craig Spencer was all over the back of him. He was having a bit of a charge there. He was getting in the side mirrors. Here we go. He gets down the inside there. Can't get it done. Slots back in behind Fitzroy Beaumont, the Azure Auto Sports Ferrari. Oh no, the wheels go off. Nothing to do with Craig. I don't think there's any contact made whatsoever there, but Sam Dicker taking full advantage of that one in the background. And that's what we have to look at. Sam Dicker looks like now he's all past Craig Spencer as well. So he has got that job done, got the pass done on Craig Spencer and moved himself up into fourth. I did say a podium for him. Now he's got to catch up to Paul Mansell. Let's have a look at the previous lap times just to have a look at who is running the fastest there. Gianni, obviously, a 122 on the last lap, a 122.3 for Kevin Norman. Paul Mansell has just got the move done. I'm going to go to an instant replay and see if we can grab the move there with Paul Mansell at the moment. So he's come down here hard on the brakes. Comes down the inside. They leave some racing room. Kevin Norman, him side by side.
Running doors too.
Yeah.
And Kevin has backed out right out of it and given Paul the gap to go through, but they were rubbing doors at turn 5 here at Laguna Seca. And see that, just that touch there. Oh, Kevin's actually gone off as a result.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one to take from there.
Yeah, Paul Mansell definitely... well, he was on the inside there. We'll leave that one up to race control to decide that one. It's and let them figure out what they want to do. And it looks like that's Sam Dicker behind him. So my prediction's ready. Can we end the race now? I win.
You're ready to have Sam Dicker on the podium. Well, you know what? This is a big opportunity for Sam. The gaps in the points on the 289 point system we use here in the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series, they get bigger the closer you get to the top. So if Sam can catch and pass Paul Mansell now, he has a better chance of helping himself in this championship. But he has to make up the 2.1 second deficit with 13 minutes to go. It's one thing to catch, it's another one to make the move happen, especially on this incredibly wide Lamborghini that Paul Mansell has proven to have the skills to wheel around the various tracks in this series. This is going to be a great race for not even the lead, as Gianni has that by 4.1 seconds.
So I'm going to let you in a little bit. I've got my spreadsheets running in the background. I'm doing all the calculations on the fly here. At the moment, if this ends up the way it does, Paul Mansell finishes second, Sam Dicker finishes third. It means that Paul Mansell will end up with he'll be on 2,052 points, a 1,747 for Sam Dicker. Now, take the drop round into account. Sam Dicker missed a round, so he's going to take that as his drop round. Paul Mansell will be on 1,883 points, 1,747 for Sam. So he won't lose any points because his drop round was a 0. Paul Mansell will lose 169 points with the drop round, only putting them 136 points apart. Remembering that the Enduro is going to be a double points round.
That is going to be a big ask. But even in a double points round, there's 30-something points between first and second, for example.
Yes.
In a regular round, double points, that's still not enough to make up a 140-point deficit.
No.
It would have to be a big lose for Paul Mansell to lose this championship if this is how it plays out right now.
Now Neil Woodburn is up on screen. He's in 5th position, but he's got Sebastian Guest on that restart, actually. He's done really well out of that for the restart, Sebastian Guest. We give him the camera curse. He puts a wheel off onto the dirt. Neil Woodburn just trying to catch up to Craig Spencer in front at the moment. They've got a couple of second gap, and you just get a little bit of a glimpse of Craig Spencer every now and then, but there's going to be a little bit of a battle going on to be in the top 5 here, I think. Sebastian Guest wanting to come home strong in this race here at Laguna Seca. Down through the corkscrew.
Sebastian was really impressive last week at Oran Park. He had a lot of pace on board and he drove the conditions perfectly. He made the Audi super wide and he started actually getting a bit of a flustered Sam Dicker happening there. Sam really wanted to push forward, but was finding it incredibly difficult to make a pass that wasn't going to bring them both undone. So credit where credit's due. Sebastian, given his age and position on track at the moment, is doing a fantastic job and having a red-hot crack at it here.
You know, he's getting around. He's getting around, isn't he? We have a look at the previous lap times. Let's just see what he's catching up on Neil Woodburn there. So Neil actually did a faster time than him on the previous lap by almost a tenth. So
It's only almost a 10th.
almost.
You know, it's not too bad. And considering that him and Dylan are the only two drivers in this field who actually, they only hold a rookie license within iRacing. So by that measure, their experience level within this platform is nowhere near that of the guys around them. And they are having a red hot crack at this and doing really well.
I'm just more interested in the previous lap times of our leaders. Gianni did a 122.25, a 122.38 for Paul Mansell, and Sam Dicker a 122.46. So they're not catching each other. In fact, the gap between the top three is actually extending. Look at Kevin Norman back there, a 122.29. He's obviously coming on a bit of recovery there after going off track. He ended up back in 7th position, but he's actually one of the better times. Now they're resetting. They've just come around. Look at that. Paul Mansell goes a 106, a 105 for Sam Dicker. So they are, although they have still got a few seconds between them, Sam Dicker can see. He can see the silver in front of him. He just needs to get past. I'm hoping that's not netcode in the background. Please tell me Sam has had, he's running off a box tonight. Is he a button box to change gears? He's had a drive-through penalty. All he needs now is a bit of netcode to finish things off. It'll be a shocking night for him, especially seeing he's done the big effort to get back from Albany now from a big karting day up there already where he's been very successful.
It could just be that one little shocker that ends Sam's night, but he is on a mission right now. 1.6 second off the back of Paul Mansell. It's 4.3 from the back of Gianni, who is just hanging on out front and looking to lead this one out as clean as possible. You have no interruptions, no challenges. You just run at the old lights to flag style here at Laguna Seca.
Oh, who is that off in the background? Is that Justin McLean?
It looks like a Lamborghini.
I'm going to go there. We will have to grab that and see whether we can see him joining. I might see if I can find out exactly what's happened on there, if we can bring this up and off track here. This was lap 34, and I believe this might actually be... He may be stuck there, is it?
Just looped it in a bit of the dirt there, got the car unloaded on the curbing, and unfortunately, he might have got himself stuck on a sticky wall.
So look at Sam.
Gets you.
Sam Dickey just with a little incident point there going off track, but that's just him taking a little bit too much curb at the moment, so nothing to worry about there as we bring him back on board. How Sam Dickey now on the podium in 3rd position. What a comeback from him at the moment. Paul Mansell needs to hold out on him. It's down to 1.4 seconds for the silverware. The gold, well, he's 4.3 seconds out in front Gianni Lutzu, and another stunning drive from him. He is super impressive, a talent to watch out for, whether it be on the track or in the iRacing community. Watch for him. Big things to come. He's only a young man.
Young Gianni just taking him to school here at Laguna Seca. It's good to see him get some stuff done. He had some trouble with his own rig in recent time. He had a shifted cable, or the cable that runs from the shift paddles to the wheel failed, and he was in an old shift setup recently.
So Craig,
he was a huge amount of work as well.
Yeah, Craig Spencer back and forth. Then it's Neil Woodburn, who is under a little bit of attack from Sebastian Guest, but they seem to be, oh no, is that Craig Spencer going off track? Let's have a look at this one.
Oh, Craig.
Craig, what are you doing to us?
This is a rainy curve. Gets it tucked across the track. Oh, a little bit wild on the entry. Gets it crossed up. Oh, that's done. Right at turn 10 into the wall.
Grabs the wall as well. So, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So this is the battle now. It's still 1.4 seconds. These guys are lapping very similar times at the moment. As you can see up on screen, a 122.168 for Paul Mansell and Sam Dicker, a 122.862. So a little bit of an advantage there. 122.149 for Gianni. If he's watching his relative, he doesn't need to push it any faster than that. I know Paul Mansell's on charge, but considering there's 5.4 seconds, 5 minutes 41 seconds left now, Gianni can drop himself a second a lap really, and he should still make this home. No need to risk it.
Hang on to this, but at the moment, Sam is on an absolute tear. Pulling out 2.5 tenths over Paul on the previous lap as they make the run down towards turn 11, the final corner at this Laguna Seca circuit.
Yeah, just go back to this battle now because I'm watching Kevin Norman on the back of this. Now that Craig Spence has gone and done himself a mischief and taken himself out of the running, Neil Woodburn could come up here in 4th position, which is not too shabby when you look at the talent that's in front of him and the names and how they are sitting in the series points at the moment, the amount of wins they've had. For Neil Woodburn to be running in 4th position is super impressive. Like you say, that rookie status. Sebastian Guest, though, he's running out of laps to get the move done if he wants to do it. Doesn't look like he quite has the pace to challenge, but someone who's going to get in this mix is Kevin Norman now, who unfortunately, you know, an incident there with Paul a little bit earlier and he went back to 7th position.
It's a big move here. Look how close they're getting as they come through the right-handers in the early stages of the lap.
Well, it's close here.
Oh, that's not going to go too well. And, oh, that hurts for Neil Woodburn.
Let's have a look at the view from behind and see what we can see. Any contact here with Sebastian Guest. Well, it's not going to be good. No, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure on that one. That one's going to be interesting to review from the race official point of view, and we will let them adjudicate on that one. Might just be a racing incident on that, but unfortunate for Neil Woodburn, who was up in 4th and now be down in 6th. It'll be interesting to see if Sebastian Guest can get on with it now, though, and we'll check out his times in just a second because he has gone through. Kevin Norman's still a little bit further back than him, though. I was surprised that. So something maybe has happened to Kevin Norman as well because he was right on the back of that. I'm going to go through my incidents here and see Kevin Norman's had an off track as well. Let's see if we can check that out in the Medicab Media replay. So they've just gone past. Yeah, Neil Woodburn spun out.
They head up the Rahal straight here. Might be sizing something up on Sebastian into the corkscrew. Grabbed a bit of the dirt on the inside of the curbing. He did well not to fire it into the wall there.
Yeah, really well. Get back on board.
Gift to old Sebastian Guest. Gives him a bit of track space without much of a challenge. 6 seconds is the gap back to Kevin Norman in the 5 spot now. This battle with Sam and Paul, though, that's down to 1.3 seconds, Matty.
Yeah, is he going to run out of time, though? With 3 minutes left, we're going to get... we're halfway through a lap, so I'm going to say we're going to complete 2 more laps on the finish of this one is going to be my prediction before we get the checkered flag. They'll definitely complete this lap. I reckon they'll get another lap in and complete the following lap is what I'm trying to say as we about to come down now to the final corner as we turn onto the main straight here. We run around. Oh, sometimes my predictions are right. 2 minutes 30. They're doing about 1 minute 20 a lap. So that's 2 minutes 40 to complete the race. That's what's going to happen. So our final 2 laps out here at the moment. Gianni Latsu, though, waiting for... Maybe Gianni might get around again because he's 4 seconds in front. We could be right on the cusp of getting an extra lap in. I reckon Sam Dicker will be on the Discord channel to Gianni going, go faster. Just try and get that 1 extra lap for me to catch up to Paul because he's put another 10th on him on this one.
Yeah, he brought it down to just under a second on the way into the Andretti hairpin, but it's blown out again to 1.2, so Paul's a little bit quicker through turns 3 and 4, just letting the legs open up on the Lambo perhaps to go back and check out this battle with Mason Harvey and Craig Spencer, the 2 energy boys chasing each other around here with Neil Woodburn on the back of that little group. That's for 6, 7 and 8 on the road. Yeah,
so after Neil Woodburn going off track just a couple of laps earlier, he was in 6th position. Craig Spencer and Mason Harvey have come through and they're in a little bit of a battle. Of course, Craig Spencer brought himself undone earlier and I was scared then we were going to drop a wheel and maybe spin that car out. So I'm holding my breath for Craig. I just want him to get home in the top 10. Just for a couple of races in a row would be nice.
See Craig get a couple of results on the board here. As we follow Mason into the corkscrew a little bit wide. Oh, he goes through the dirt. Craig's going to be careful not to get into him. Neil Woodburn's going to try and sneak through and pick these spots up again. And this is going to get real tight with 1 minute to go. And amazingly, they stay where they were.
Mate, I think Neil Woodburn was trying to do the SVG there, 2 cars at once.
That would have been a good fight.
This was down under a second. This was 0.8 of a second at one point. I've been watching the interval times up there on the screen, and I think this will be the final lap as they come round. So I'll need to keep track of that because Gianni's going to come across the finish not too far away. I'm just trying to see where they are on track, whether he will get another lap in. I don't think. I think this will be the final lap they are on now. Gianni Latsu leading this race as they come up the Rahal straight down the back. There's a big moment at the corkscrew now. He's going to get through there. I'm going to go back to Paul Mansell and then Sam Dicker just to watch him get through there. It needs to be really clean through this section. This is probably the trickiest section of this track that I find. The lights are flashing. He's hoping that Paul Mansell's looking, but you're not going to intimidate Paul. He's a seasoned racer.
Yeah, he knows how to get it done in the back end of this race and won't crumble under pressure as they come around the final turns. Gianni into turn 11 for the final time as Sand sends it through the dirt. Gianni gets himself a win here in the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series, bringing the Energy Audi down the line to claim the top spot. Mansell in second, Sam Dicker, what a recovery drive. You got to put your hands together for Sam, though. Coming home in the third spot. Sebastian Guest is going to race it down to the line to claim P4. And it looks like Kevin Norman will end up rounding out your top 5, Matty.
Yeah, Kevin Norman will round them out. Then we go back to Mason Harvey and Craig Spencer. I'm just going to get through them all here and try and get them across. And then Neil Woodburn, unfortunate night for him. He was doing really successfully, I think, to get himself home in 8th place in the end. Fitzroy Beaumont up and down the grid, ends up in 9 where he started too. That's he was right up there too and really was hoping to get himself in the top 5 there. Kieran Ellis is the next one who's going to come home, obviously in 10th position and followed right behind by the Italian stallion Peter B. Justin McLean, I think he is run and done for the night. Dylan Guest has got out of there as well. It's been a huge day for them. It's good to see so many people joining us on the stream, and whether you've commented out there, having a bit of banter between you, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, of course, the comments coming out, you can see them up on screen. Kieran Ellis looks like he's going to come home with Peter B following him to get the final moves done here. You see Peter B just coming across, and that looks like that will be 10 and 11 home for this race. So, what we do like, though, is our winner is Gianni Latsu in the race for round number 9 here at Laguna Seca for the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series, and they will come around, and I'm sure they are going to be having a little bit of Discord chat there and have a bit of banter going on because the guys had a fantastic race. Gianni Latsu with the win. Sam Dick, a big talking point there on the start, did a little bit of reverse and then had to go through for a pit lane penalty, which put him back in the field, but he's done a fantastic job to work back through. Paul Mansell recovers from a start where he lost a couple of positions as well. So the top 3 there, my predictions came right. What do I get, Chris?
You get a crisp high 5 when I one day meet you in person.
That's right. Let's have a look at our results. So we'll go through them, though, one more time for you. As you can see, the boys end up on straight. And, of course, it is Gianni Latsu with the win in the Audi. The Lambo's next. Paul Mansell from the Online Injectors entry. Sam Dicker in the Flatout Karts entry will be the 3rd person on your podium getting the bronze tonight. Sebastian Guest in 4th. A nice recovery from him. Kevin Norman in 5th. Mason Harvey 6th. Craig Spencer did himself a mischief again tonight in 7th place. Neil Woodburn unlucky not to be further up in 8th position. Fitzroy Beaumont in 9th. Kieran Ellis in 10th. Before we go on to 11, which is Peter B, the Italian stallion. Justin McLean spun out towards the end there and was all over, and Dylan Guest looks like he got out a little bit early after a few racing incidents, so he didn't get to finish off the race. As we see them up there, it looks like Paul Mansell has ejected from that one. Let's go and grab a couple of these guys and see if you want to have a bit of a chance with them. I'm going to drag Sam Dicker in for you.
We'll bring on Sam. Sam, mate, what a recovery drive. Talk us through how on earth you were actually changing gears.
So I've got the button box mounted on the side of the sim, and I'm using a flick switch on that to go up and down. So it's all right. I've had a day of testing or day of racing in the KZ now, but in come here, and it's the same sort of situation. So it's good. It's good practice today for it.
Did you know that when you ended up with that drive-through penalty, that stop-go penalty in the pit lane, that you were going to end up being able to claw back that time? Did you have enough confidence in yourself after a big weekend of karting to pull this one off?
Not really. I had to sort of drive a bit easy because anywhere that I got a bit loose on the entry, I couldn't fix it because I obviously only had one hand on the wheel into every corner. But then, yeah, sort of found a groove with it and got used to it, and then we ended up doing not too bad. So I think Paul ended up with a penalty at the end there, which just swaps me and Paul around after he had an incident. So leaves us pretty tight in the championship.
If that switches you guys around, that definitely shaped things up. We were doing some of the mathematical calculations during the race, and it leaves you in a pretty tight spot. If the penalty doesn't apply, it would leave you in a tight spot coming into the Bathurst Enduro round. But mate, once again on the podium here for the Flatout Karts GT3 E Series to cap off a massive weekend for you. Talk us through the KZ win down in Albany.
Yeah, he ran the WPK, the Flatout card, of course. Pretty much out of the box, and thing was a weapon. So we qualified pole and took every race win in a field of 32 with a bloke from over east who's running third in the national championship. So ended up about mid pack. So it shows we got some really good fields in WA, and it's great for WA karting. Super excited to get some of the KZ boys that we have here across and over east doing some racing over there and see what we can do with the big boys at the AKC, the Australian Kart Championships.
Can't wait to see what we can show the rest of the country that us West Aussies can actually get things done. But mate, I'm sure you are hanging for a cold beer and a good night's sleep after a massive weekend. Congratulations again on the podium here at Laguna Seca after a bit of an odd start for you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much, as usual, guys. Great job.
Yeah, great to hear there from Sam, and it does look like that we do not have Paul Mansell in the chat there, so we might give Paul a bit of a skip unless I see him drop in. But I will bring in our winner, though, for tonight of round number 9 of the Flatout Karts GT3 E-Series. Gianni Lutzu will be joining us here in the commentary box for you to have a chat with. Chris, I'm just seeing if we've got him muted. You've unmuted him, haven't you?
Yeah, I unmuted him. Gianni, mate, you finally get that top spot.
I know, it's finally come. We literally said it last week, oh, when are you going to get first? And look, it's happened this time. So, yeah, no, awesome race today. Yeah, pretty much it was just about maintaining the pace and, come on with the win.
Some people like to say it's easier to chase than be chased. Which would you rather be? Would you rather be trying to hunt someone down or be constantly out front watching that relative and hoping you've got enough pace to the end?
That's a hard one, to be honest with you. It's, in my opinion, I usually enjoy sitting behind someone because it's, I usually go on their relative pace. But today I actually preferred being out the front. It was great that I just had the pace today, and that allowed me, just to maintain the gap to behind and save my tyres a little bit, especially in that middle stint when I had that 10-second gap to Kevin. That really helped heaps, just having that pace and being able to save the tyres a little bit. So, it was good being out the front today. I loved it.
To be able to run at the point to you, and how many hours of work do you put in during the week to get the pace up around Laguna Seca for this round?
To be honest with you, I haven't actually driven a lot of Laguna Seca. It's just honestly a bit of experience from the past. Just doing like iRacing series races, just driving a lot of different cars around here, knowing all the braking points. But yeah, honestly, I only did maybe 80, 90 laps around here before today. So yeah, I put a little bit of time in, but probably not as much as I usually do, but it did the job, so that's all that matters.
Nonetheless, it paid off. You must be looking forward to the next round of the real world stuff in the West Australian FSR Championship.
Yeah, of course. I know it's been a bit of a while since the last round already, but the next one's in June, so yeah, looking forward to that. And then the rest of the year is going to be pretty full on. We've got 5 rounds to fill in within 6 months left of the year. So should be pretty good for the rest of the year. But yeah, looking forward to get back in that car. It's always awesome to drive.
I'm surely at some point we're going to go shake Sam down and get you in a KZ kart, right?
Oh, of course. You never know. Maybe next year might be on the cards. But I've seen onboards, seen everybody else doing it. That's in this series as well. So might need to give it a go next year.
The peer pressure's there, mate. We've got to get you in a kart. But once again, congratulations. Great to see you on the top step, Gianni. Getting the win here at Laguna Seca.
Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I know. It puts me in a good position for the final round. Gives me a lot of confidence. So, should be good. It's gonna be difficult doing the 3 hours of Bathurst, but gonna have to put a bit of time in the sim now and get a bit more of physical exercise to keep me going for 3 hours.
Lollies, keep them by your side.
Yeah, that's it. I know. Lot of water, a lot of Pepsi, a lot of sugar. So, should be good. Maybe a beer as well.
Oh, fantastic to hear from you, mate. We'll let you go, and it looks like Paul Mansell has jumped in, so we're going to bring him in a second.
Cool. All good, guys. Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Chris.
See you, bye.
See you later.
All right, we're going to grab Paul Mansell and bring him into the chat. I'm going to make sure we can actually talk to him as well as he comes in. So, Mr. Paul Mansell, you've ended up on the number 2 position tonight, and Gianni is just super fast, isn't he, out in front?
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a quick bloke, and give him some clean air and he's off. So, no, he's definitely too quick tonight, that's for sure.
How did you find conditions in the Lambo tonight and Laguna Seca? What's the most challenging part? Would you say the corkscrew, or do you find other parts of the track challenging?
No, the downhill left after the corkscrew, believe it or not, all the cars get really loose. So yeah, even Kevin got a bit loose going downhill there. But yeah, no, it's a challenging track, that's for sure. There's a lot of different unique corners. So yeah, it's a tough one. But no, the car was good tonight. I can't complain. It was pretty much on par with everything else. So, but yeah, Gianni was just too quick, and yeah, that's it.
So you're obviously going to stick with the Lambo in the final round. Bathurst, you're really looking forward to that one because it's going to be a 3-hour, and you've got plenty of time behind the wheel. You've done plenty of 24 hours, 12 hours where you've got teammates, but this one's a solo run, 3 hours.
Mate, we just come off a 12-hour race, so no, I'm pretty right with the long races. I enjoy them, and there's a bit of strategy involved and keeping up the pace and everything. So no, I enjoy it. It's a good track for the GT3s, obviously. So bit of downforce and long straight. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good race. I hope everyone turns up. Be nice.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a few more cars out there. I think they will. It's Bathurst. It's iconic. Everyone seems to love getting around Bathurst, and everyone's already. You've done hundreds of laps around there in various different cars. How much do you think pit stop strategy will play a part in that round?
Oh, it's massive, obviously. Even tonight I was a bit low on the fuel, so I actually ran out of fuel in the last corner coming onto the straight for the lineup at the grid there. So yeah, it's critical, obviously. But no, look, the safety cars. I don't know if we're going to 1, 2, or 3 in a 3-hour race. Who knows? But no, fuel is critical. So it's. I made an error coming into the pits tonight. I hit the wall, which I've never done before, and Kev got in front of me after the pit stop. So that's how critical it is. So, and he only just got out in front of me, so I was kicking myself because I was hoping to have a crack at Gianni, but no, it is what it is. But no, looking forward to Bathurst for sure.
Well, mate, we'll let the injectors on Lambo go and have a rest, and we'll see you back at the Bathurst Endurance, mate. Fantastic drive tonight.
Definitely, thank you, and well on to Gianni and well on to Sam. Good race.
Well, we'll move Paul back into his little racing chat there. Chris, mate, fantastic night. We might just run through the results very quickly once again. And it was obviously Gianni Latsu with the win here tonight with Paul Mansell in second. But we're going to talk about that a bit later. We'll find out. We'll confirm that with race control that he may have copped a penalty there and gone back to third. So Sam Dicker third in the race, but we'll let our adjudicators go through all the final results. But looks like Sebastian Guest in fourth, Kevin Norman in fifth, Mason Harvey in sixth, Craig Spencer in seventh, Neil Woodburn in eighth, Fitzroy Beaumont ninth, Kieran Ellis in 10th. Then it went back to Peter B, the Italian stallion, in 11, Justin McLean in 12, and Dylan Guest rounded out in 13. But another fantastic night of racing in the GT3 Karts E-Series.
It was a fantastic night, and great to see everyone getting out there and having a crack. And Sam just likes to make it interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think he does. He's definitely one to make that interesting. So be very interesting, of course. Thanks to you, mate, for joining me here in the commentary box tonight. You didn't go out racing tonight. You actually come up here. It was great to have you back, actually. And don't forget, we'll bring you the coverage of the Bathurst round. We do not have a date set for that one yet, so make sure you stay tuned to the social media, the Discord channels, everything like that. Medicab Media, wherever you be, we will put that out there, and we will share that around once that happens. But congratulations to all the winners tonight, Chris. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again at the next round.
Can't wait for it, mate. 3 hours at Bathurst. I am frothing at that. I'm going to have to get some laps in myself so I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, mate, get the beers chilled and rest the eyes because it's going to be a big one for that one.
Mate, can't wait for it.